Hey, Cub fans! Thanks for joining us here on Cubs 24/7, where Randy talks Cubs. Thanks for checking out this edition of the Weekend Update for week ending March 1st, 2024. For those of you who are living under a rock, the Cubs have signed Cody Bellinger to a 3-year, $80 million contract, and that contract has options in it. So just to kind of get on the same page, 3 years with Cody, but he has opt-out options after both the first and the second year. So we'll have to see what happens. But Cody Bellinger signed with the Cubs. He hasn't played yet. I guess Counsell's going to ease him into it. So probably look for Cody to make his spring training debut in maybe a week to 10 days. We also signed free agent veteran first baseman Garrett Cooper, and that's kind of an interesting sign. We'll see how that plays out. We've got a ton of first basemen in spring training. Garrett Cooper, the new one. We signed Dom Smith from the Nationals. He's there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And if you're unfamiliar with Garrett Cooper, I did a profile. You can find that here on the channel. Some other National League Central signings of note. Brandon Crawford, the Giant veteran, World Series champion, has signed with the Cardinals. Yasmani Grandal, catcher, has signed with the Pirates. And Gary Sanchez is signed with the Brewers. He's going to be backing up William for the Crew. When the Cubs signed Cody Bellinger, they needed to add him to the 40-man roster. And to do that, they had to make room on the 40-man because it was full. So this week, the Cubs traded left-handed pitcher Bailey Horn to the White Sox in exchange for a pretty good young prospect named Matt Thompson. And I did another profile on Matt Thompson for us. So if you're unfamiliar with the Cubs' new prospect that we got from the Sox for Bailey Horn, Matt Thompson, you can find that here on the channel as well. A little piece of information that I saw on Craig Counsell that I thought was interesting. And he's already made a big impression. And it's just some of the things that he does and the way he thinks. It's just very different. And I think most people are really excited about what changes we're going to see because Craig Counsell is in charge. And, you kind of try to put some objective measurements on it, like, what is it that he does and how does he make us better? And here's a stat that came across that I thought was interesting. It has to do with Craig Counsell's winning percentage in one-run games. It is the third highest in Major League history. He's sitting at .568 winning percentage in one-run games. That is third behind Hall of Famer Earl Weaver, who leads at .574, and Cub legend Frank Chance of Evers Tinker to Chance fame has a .571. So I guess that's a pretty good measurement in terms of a manager's skill set is winning those close games, right? Making those very important decisions and finding the smallest of advantages. And when I heard that, I thought, yeah, he really does. We talked about Craig Counsell's ability to put matchups in the right place, especially late with pitcher-hitter matchups. So it shows up in his winning percentage in close games. There's a new rule change. Maybe you haven't heard of it. It's not too big of a deal, but I think it's noteworthy. There's the 18-second pitch clock is now 18 seconds whether or not there's a runner on or not. Last year it was 18 seconds without a runner, 20 seconds with a runner, and this year it's 18 seconds for both. A little bit of unfortunate news. Brennen Davis he's going to be out for a little bit. I think it was on Tuesday he got hit with a pitch in the head, and it wasn't a fastball. It was a hanger, and to get away, he turned his left shoulder in, and it literally hit him in the back of the head. Hit him in the helmet, back of the head, but knocked his helmet off. And he looked okay. He actually stayed in the game, and he looked okay. Well, afterwards, they put him into the concussion protocol. So I looked up the protocol, and I'm not going to go into the details of it specifically, other than it looks like it's a mandatory 7-day out. So Brennen Davis is probably going to be out for a week or two. And it's unfortunate for Brennen. He just cannot avoid this injury bug. So, but it's a mild concussion. They don't think it's going to be anything all that drastic. But Brennan was playing really well, and I'll give you his numbers at the end. I'm going to go through a lot of stats at the end of this. We got some interesting stuff. So this week we had 4 games. We lost to the Royals 6-0 on Monday. Hayden Wesneski started that game, and it did not go well for Hayden. I'll talk to you about that as we go. On Tuesday, we tied the Reds 6-6. Kyle Hendricks started that game, and Kyle wasn't sharp, but he did go 2 innings, gave up a run. Just wasn't 100% sharp. Wasn't horrible, but not sharp at all. On Wednesday, we beat the Crew 6-1. Jordan Wicks made his second start, and Jordan went 3 innings. So we'll talk about that as well. On Thursday, the Cubs lost to the Rockies 10-9. They got down early, and then the kids fought back. Drew Smiley started that game, and Drew struggled too. So just wasn't good. 2 innings, not real good. But one of the things that I've been seeing is the pattern has been interesting where not all the veterans start. Maybe you'll have 3 or 4 of the veterans in the lineup. But when they make that change in the 5th inning and all the kids come in, and these kids start to play, right? They're in survival mode. They're trying to prove themselves and show themselves. So it's an interesting transition to watch sort of the pace of play and how the players go about it in the first through 5 innings. And then when all the kids come in, and now they get serious. And it's been really entertaining to watch. So the last 4 or 5 innings of these spring training games, with all these kids coming in, taking the extra base and flying around the outfield, and it's been really fun to watch these kids. And I'm going to get into that right now. And I'm just going to say this. I don't recall a spring training that I've enjoyed more watching the young prospects play. We are just deep with young, talented, entertaining prospects. So deep that I really wanted to talk about 3 or 4 more of them that I think I have enough here, but they've just been really entertaining. And I'm going to start with Owen Casey. My guys, Owen Casey can play. Cubs minor league player of the year last year. Let me just run the numbers. In 8 at-bats, he scored 3 runs. He's got 5 hits, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs. He's walked 3 times. Just struck out once. He's hitting .625 with a .727 on base and an .875 slug, OPS at 1.602. And what's interesting about it is when you watch him hit, he's just an assassin. He's not intimidated at all. He's very under control, and he's just been, to me, amazing and so impressive. I can't wait to watch what happens. Now, listen, I know it's only a week. I know. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm telling you that in this week, Owen Casey has looked amazing, looked phenomenal. So we'll see how it plays out. Here's another guy that's been playing really well. It's Joe Hudson, the catcher. Joe is one of the 4 non-roster invitee catchers that we have, and he's off to a good start. And I'm starting to wonder, it's going to be important, I think, for that 3rd catcher. So those 4 guys are competing for that 3rd catcher spot, and I think that 3rd catcher is going to get some time. Gomes is going to be 37 years old. It just makes sense that we need to be prepared, and Joe Hudson in the first week has separated himself from the pack. First of all, he threw out 2 runners in 1 inning the other day, but in 6 at-bats, he scored 2 runs. He's got 3 hits. A double and a home run. He's got 6 RBIs. Just one strikeout. He's hitting .500 with a .667 on base, a 1.167 slug for an OPS of 1.834. Okay, obviously he's not going to sustain that. I'm just telling you, Joe Hudson in the first week, he looks really good. Let's talk about PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong. He's out to prove something. Pete Crow Armstrong is making things happen on the base paths. He looks to me like he's taking it personal about all the abuse that he took for his, debacle in his debut. And he is all business. And so far, it looks really good. 13 at-bats, he scored 4 runs, 4 hits. He's got 3 doubles, 2 stolen bases. He's running. He's averages 308. He's got a 357 on base, 538 slug, OPS just under 900, 895. And he's just fun to watch. Between PCA and Owen Casey, just those 2 guys, they're really entertaining. And PCA is really faster than I thought he was. He really can motor, very aggressive. And Owen Casey's got wheels too. He beat out an infield play the other day, and he was smoking down the line. Takes him a little longer to get going, a little longer than PCA, but both those guys can run. Just PCA and Owen Casey, the future looks bright for those 2 guys. Let's do some of the rest of the kids. We'll do Chase Strumpf. I've really been liking Chase. He's been coming in about every game to play second base. 9 at-bats. He's got a home run. He's got a 920 OPS. Looks very solid. The other catcher, Bryce Wyndham, looks good at the plate. 7 at-bats, 2 hits, 2 walks. 286 with a 444 on-base percentage. Michael Busch, he's only got 5 at-bats, but 2 hits. And when you watch Michael hit, you see he's good enough that you watch 1 or 2 at-bats and you'll see it. It'll flash. But he's got just 2 hits, but he's hit the ball a ton at people already. A couple good hardline drives. So he's hitting 400 with a 500 on base, 400 slug, 900 OPS. Michael Busch looks great. Matt Shaw looks really good. 13 at-bats. He's got 3 hits, a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs. Matt Shaw is a quick bat. It's a really quick right-handed stroke. Defensively, he's had a couple issues, though. He's made a couple of errors that, it is what it is for Matt. The bat, to me, looks like it's ahead of his glove by a pretty good stretch. But, when you see a ball hit to second base, either to his right or to his left, and you're used to watching Nico Horner, well, Shaw's not that. So he's not ready defensively, but his bat, he's really a good hitter. James Triantos only played in 1 game. He's 1 for 4, but he's very similar to Shaw. Very quick right-handed bat, and in his 1 for 4, he had 2 RBIs, but he had 4 really good at bats. So James Triantos, just him and Shaw are very similar in terms of their approach at the plate, and both infielders. So we'll have to see what happens there. All right, let's talk about David Bote. I don't know. I'll give you his numbers, and then we'll kind of get into David Bote's situation. He's playing well. 10 at-bats, 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 home runs already. David Bote's got 2 home runs. He's hitting 300, 417 average, and a 900 slug for a 1.317 OPS. And he hit a ball yesterday, a hard shot down the third base line that the third baseman had to make a diving play, a great stop. Otherwise, he's got another hit and another RBI. And he also had another line drive. So David Bote has been hitting the ball hard in 10 at-bats, and he's playing shortstop. He comes in and plays the shortstop. And guys, I tell you, he's a veteran. He's a pro. I never really liked David Bote's shortstop ability before, but boy, he's very serviceable. 30 years old. You can see that he's polished. Bote can play third. He can play short. He can play second base. He's showing some pop. I don't know. But I looked at his numbers last year, right? So last year he comes out of spring training, goes AAA. You never hear of him. Well, he hit really good in AAA last year. He hit over 300, or not in AAA, in spring training. So I'm like, is David Bote getting a real look? Because right now, David Bote, I'm like, you might need to find a chance to give him some play. It's only a week. We'll see what happens. But similar situation happened last year for David. So we'll see what happens. But he's really looked good. So those are the guys. Well, I'll give you another one. Vasquez. I think Luis Vasquez looks really good. 7 at bats, 2 hits, 3 RBIs, walked twice. Good command at the plate. Good, looks really confident. Hitting 286, 400 on base, 567 slug, 967 OPS. So Luis Vasquez has looked really good. These kids, and I'm not even talking. Rojas, the 18-year-old, turned on a pitch yesterday and lined it off the wall in the corner of left field, and they just keep coming. And 3 or 4 of these other kids that I've seen have been really impressive. They play hard. They're good baseball players, and it's just a joy to watch them play. It's like watching a futures game, watching the 8th inning of a Cubs spring training game in late February, early March. That's what it looks like to me. A lot of talent. Other people you might be interested in is Matt Mervis. Mervis, 10 at bats, just 2 hits, has walked 5 times, struck out 3. He's hitting 200 with a 467 on base, only a 200 slug, 667 OPS. So Matt's still trying to find it, and as of right now, he hasn't got off to a great start. Let's do some of the veterans. Morel is in midseason form, and Morel played winter ball, and I think it shows up. He's ready to go. He looks like he's ready. 8 at bats, 3 runs, 3 hits, a double, a home run, hitting 375, 500 on base with 875 slug. So Morel's OPS is 1.375. So he's ready offensively, and defensively he's doing fine. There was a play yesterday, hit to his right, that he backhanded, and had he gotten it out of his glove clean, he would have thrown the guy out. But he bobbled it getting out of his glove, and it looked right that that's where he needs to work. So I saw for the first time a play where he's not quite there, but still doing very well at third base, and of course his bat has to be in the lineup. Mastrobuoni's playing well. 8 at bats, 3 hits. He's hitting 375. He's stealing bases. He's playing good defense. Mastrobuoni, I'm starting to like him quite a bit. I like his versatility in the infield. He can play shortstop, and he has, and looks good. And his confidence at the plate is there. So he's hitting 375. Madrigal's off to a decent start. Sort of Madrigal numbers: 7 at bats, 2 hits, a walk, 286 average. 444 on base, but slugged down at 429. So very Madrigal-like, and Nick looks about like what he looked like last year. Patrick Wisdom, in 8 at bats, he's hitting 125, and he was scratched. He was in the starting lineup last night, and then game time, he was scratched. He wasn't in there, and I haven't heard a reason for that, and that makes me suspicious. The things that make me, there's a lot of things that would make me suspicious about him getting scratched, but that's all it is. I haven't heard anything. I don't know, but wouldn't surprise me if we get news on Patrick Wisdom. Let's talk about the pitching situation a little bit, and the first thing I want to talk about is the 5th starter. So coming into spring training, and it was the way it worked out with the pitchers that have been pitching. There's a competition for that 5th starter position between Wesneski, Smiley, Jordan Wicks, who am I missing? Javier Assad, and probably Caleb Killian. But the Wesneski, Smiley, Wicks, and Assad are the 4 that were kind of battling it out. And if the decision was made today between those 4, it's Jordan Wicks by a long shot, because Wesneski, Smiley, and Assad it hasn't gone well. So Wesneski has pitched an inning and a third, has given up 6 hits and a home run, ERA 27 in only 16 pitches. So Wesneski, it hasn't gone well. Obviously, it's an inning and a third. I'm just telling you where we are after a week. Didn't go well for Smiley in his second start. So total 4 innings, he's given up 7 hits, 2 home runs, 3 walks, ERA over 11. And Assad's start didn't go well. He went an inning and a third, gave up 3 hits, walked 2, 13.2 ERA. So Wesneski, Smiley, and Assad, their first outing or two outings for Smiley have not gone that great. On the reliever side, Palencia got hit the other day. He went an inning and 2/3, gave up 5 hits, a home run, and 3 runs. So his ERA is 16.2. And Mark Leiter Jr. had a bad inning, gave up 2 runs. So the pitchers of note that it hasn't gone well to this point is Wesneski, Smiley, Palencia, Leiter Jr., and Javier Assad. So that's kind of where we are there. Now let's go to the other side. We got a bunch of pitchers that have been lights out. It's almost like a tale of they've either been really good or gotten hit pretty good. So let me give you the list of pitchers who have pitched at least an inning, who've given up nothing. Adbert has come in. He pitched an inning, looked like an Adbert. Jose Cuas came in. He's got 2 innings under his belt and walked a guy and got around it. So Jose Cuas looked good. Carl Edwards Jr. Pitched an inning, not touched. The 2 lefties that have been really impressive are Luke Not So Little and Richard Lovelady. They both have pitched 2 innings and have looked fantastic. Didn't give up anything. Julian Merriweather's got an inning under his belt. Didn't give anything up. I saw Hector Neris pitch for the first time. He looks good to me. He looks closer-ish. He was nasty. Got through an inning, like 4 pitches. He was out. Brad Witt came in, got an inning, and looked good. And lefty Thomas Pannone has got 3 innings and has looked really good. Hasn't given anything up. So those are the pitchers that have pitched and gave up nothing. And there's a lot of them, and they all looked really good. Let's go to Jordan Wicks. Jordan got stretched out a little bit. He went 3 innings in his last start. So Jordan is now up to 4 2/3 innings, just giving up the 1 run. And right now he's probably the front runner for that 5th rotation spot. Obviously, there's a lot of time left. Caleb Killian, guys, he's looked good. 4 innings, 4 strikeouts, 1 run given up, 2.25. Wasn't as sharp in his second outing as I thought he was in his first, but he's got a special arm, Caleb Killian. Kyle Hendricks had his first start. It was okay. Kyle wasn't sharp. He went 2 innings, gave up a run, and it was very Kyle-like, but he just wasn't as sharp as what we hope we'll see. Some of the other guys that we haven't seen yet, we're going to soon. My understanding is Steele will start on Friday. Shota is going to start on Saturday against the Dodgers, and the starter for Sunday against Cleveland, we don't know. So Shota, Taillon, and Steele have yet to make an appearance. And the other thing of note is Ben Brown. We've kind of been talking about him a little bit, and we thought maybe coming out of the bullpen. Well, it looks like they're stretching him out. So if they're going to stretch him out, they're probably getting him positioned to start in Iowa in the rotation. That would sort of be my thoughts on it. So, guys, that's an update. We've got the Sox on Friday with Steele. Dodgers will look at Shota. Looking forward to seeing Shota pitch. And we'll see who they got penciled in for Sunday against Cleveland. Guys, that's the update. I'll do my best to follow along and put a report together for you for the games over the weekend. In the meantime, you guys have a good one. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Go Cubs, go.